Welcome back to Getting to Green. My name is Kevin, and today let's get the front end working, right? Let's start seeing what we're working with here. So let's jump over to VS Code here, and all right, the first thing I want to do is, well, let's take a look at our routes file. I think it's our web routes, and right now we have a welcome view. So let's try something here. I don't have my server running, so let's clear this. Let's go to, I have this thing for Homestead. This is just going to my Homestead file. If you need help with Homestead, it's pretty much really well documented throughout all of Laravel, so you can take a look there. But what I'll do is vagrant up. And let's let that spin up for a minute, and I'll meet you when it's done. All right, so that finished up. So let's take a look at our application here. And as you can see, let's get my face out. Oh, it goes this way. Yeah, this is pretty much their boilerplate stuff. So if we wanted to, we can jump in here, and we could go to our resources, views, and this is our welcome blade. So we can, first off, let's delete all of our styles. Don't need any of that. The font is fine. I don't mind that typeface. But most of this junk we can actually get rid of. Up here and boom. Right? So now let's just test that we are actually making changes here. H1. Why isn't Emmett? Come on, Emmett. Hello, world. Right. Save that. I'll take a look at our page here, and we got hello, world. So that's working. That's fantastic. So we also need to, if we go to Laracast here, Laravel, sorry, we can go into our documentation, and we can start looking into Vite, right? The basics. One of the things that we need to do is we need to add a one-liner up at the top for Vite to, we're going to get into this, but we need to have it pulled in right here. So in our head of the document, we have Vite. Copy this. We're going to pull it in right there. Right? So this is just telling Laravel that there's some Vite stuff being configured, and we have our resources CSS app and our resources.js app.js. We can save this, but we're going to do a div with an ID of app and have Emmett expand that. So now we can start working with Vite. And let's take a look at our config. This is kind of what we had when we were starting with the testing and everything. So we have our node modules. We're excluding that. We don't need to see that. Actually, are we? That's a little better. All right. So now you guys can see the text. So we got some stuff. So we got our view. We have Laravel, sorry, and our view, and all of our tests. One of the things that I'm noticing is that we have a lot of JS still, and I want to start changing that over to being TypeScript. So I'm going to change that here. I'm going to rename this TS and rename this one as well. I want to use TS in this project. You don't have to if you don't want to, obviously. It's really just for quick little type checking, and you get some little errors and helpers and whatnot. So this is cool. So we have that. Let's see, what else do we have? So we can see that we're actually pulling in the JS still here. Don't forget to do this part. I was struggling with this, trying to figure out why it wouldn't work. I had worked on this project earlier to try it out and get it all ready for you guys. And I left that as a JS, and I was scratching my head for such a long time. And then within our Vite config, we also want to change this to TypeScript. Now we have some test stuff, which we don't mind. And save this. And let's get yarn run dev. Pretty sure. So if we go to our package, we have dev right there, which just runs Vite, and it's running everything here. We can see that it's actually going to a different local host. Let's go to our env. It's pulling from here, and we don't want local host. We actually set this up, so we have a todo.test. I save that here, and first off, it saw it down here, so that's actually what we want. If I alt-click this, yeah, I want to open that. That's our page, right? That's exactly what we were already on. See if we refresh, the hello world goes away. So it knows the right app URL down here. So now let's see if we can get something shown. App. All right. So now we have to do our fun stuff with our app, which is starting to create all of our essentially our actual app. We need to use our Vue and stuff. So import. We need create app from Vue. I'm just going to create the app. We're going to const app equals create app. Oh, we need the app as well. Right, and pretty much what we're doing is we're going to say app.mount, and we give it the ID that we had before. So app, right? That's the ID. App. Fantastic. Save this. There was a page reload, but I'm not going to see anything, so I'm not even going to bother. But we want to have in here, we're going to want some pages, but first we want the actual app. This is our entry level for everything. So this is our app.vue, and I have a little Vue snippet here. It just does some stuff. And let's do h1 and hello world, and check out Laravel. I'm not seeing it yet, right? So that's a little weird. That's because we didn't import it, right? So import app from right here, app.vue. And we're just going to pass that in here. App. Save it. And we're going to see that we have a full colon instead of semicolon. And the page reloaded. And we got hello world. So our JavaScript's working. We're importing everything. This is great. One thing I want to do, I'm going to kind of tackle this right away, is I want to start using Vue Router. So I need to install that. We don't have it yet. So let's go and have that installed. So yarn add Vue Router. While that's going, I'm going to check. It was quick. So, all right, so that installed. So now we can actually start using it. We want to go into our app here. So app.vue, and we want to actually have a router link. This is going to, we're just going to pass it in some string here. This is going to be our how the Vue router routes everything. I'm just going to name it home, and that's it. Let's make another one. Also we'll make an about page /about. So now we have those. Now if we go and check out, we got to run our yarn run dev. You don't need run, you can just run yarn dev. This is that. So we have our home and our about. So we don't actually have those routes set up. So let's go create some routes. I want to work everything in this JS folder also. So I'm not going to have routes out here. This is our applications backend. Everything within here is what we want to work with. So within JS, and create a folder, and I'm going to call it routes. And inside here, I'm going to make an index.ts. All right, we want routes. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to import And we don't have anything to import yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to export default, and we're going to have an array here. And the first thing I want in my array, we're going to need a path, and that's going to be our /, and we're going to need a component. We don't have that component yet, right? But it's going to be our home view. So I want to say home view, or home page rather. So let's go and create that. Let's, within the JS again, let's do a folder. Nope, not in there. A folder here for pages. And here I want home page.view. You want to have 2 words. It's just something that Vue is now pushing for. And it's just a little bit better. Again, I have that little Vue snippet. And it's just going to say h1 home. All right. And you know what? While we're at it, I'm going to delete all this because you don't need anything in the scripts. And while we're at it, I'm going to copy all this and create the about page. View. Except this is going to say about. All right, we have our 2 pages. If we go back to our route index, we can say import home page from and we need pages / home page. All right, and while we're at it, let's import our about page 2 from, again, the same place. Got to back out something in pages and about page. So now we have another route here, a path. It's going to be about. Don't worry about the styling right now. Component is about page. Save it and it fixes it for us. You gotta be lazy sometimes, you know. Let the computer do the heavy lifting. All right, so that's in here. But we actually need to call that and everything. We need to create our actual app with the router. So we're going to import a few more things. So this is like our app stuff, but this is all our imports. This could go into Bootstrap, and I might push it there in a minute, but import, create router. That's not how you spell router. Create router and create web hash history from Vue Router. Now, this is something that it's pretty much just for the history. You'll see, I'll show you a little bit. It sets up it just sets up a way to have an ability to go back in time, like a previous page, stuff like that. So it's just for Vue Router. So we need to create a const. Why am I saying create? We need a const for router. I'm going to create that router. And we're going to import, we're going to change the history here. History and create web history, hash history. Again, this just sets a few things up for us. And this is going to be where our routes go, but we haven't imported that yet. So let's import routes from, actually we're in this folder, I think it's here, routes. We don't need to add the index. It knows within that folder that that's what we're looking for. So now we have our routes. We need to tell the app to use it. So app.use and router. And that should start working. So if we go back over, we have a home page and an about page. So you can see this is that hashtag I was talking about. But if I hit about and I hit home, those should be popping up. Let's see what we're missing here. It doesn't seem like anything. So let's take a look at our oh, you know what? Probably just have to reset this. And just to prove the other thing, yarn dev. Go back here. It's going to refresh. We don't need 2 of these running. Let's go to about. Okay, so what I was missing was if we go back to the app.vue, we have our router links, but we don't actually have the router view. So router view, this is actually what is showcasing the pages here. So right now we're on the about page. We see about. We go to home. We see home. That's it. That's Vue Router for you. This is pretty cool. So all right. So that actually is the Vue Router pretty much set up, right? We can start taking different pages, start displaying different content based on each of those pages. In the next video, I want to actually start hooking up Axios and pulling stuff in from the back end and getting some cool stuff set up there. So join me next time, and we'll get that done. Cheers.